Okay, guys, and welcome to episode 4 of the Villa Generals, the new home of everything Villa. Again, by myself, Drew, Azza, and obviously T. Where are you, T? If any of you don't follow us on socials, T promised that if we got anything out of the Tottenham game, so he'd be wearing a wig. When I first saw him, I thought he'd just come back from Turkey. But
I look like your long lost brother, mate. So don't start.
But listen,
Jesus Christ.
I think you can see by the way that this has started, the mood that we're in. We're just coming off the back of the Tottenham win. First and foremost, part the result for a second and the performance. How good was it to see some of the young lads come on?
I got quite emotional. Did you, Azza?
Yeah, I did, and I felt like tonight, it was a prime time for getting a few youngsters on at the end, regardless of what the score was at that time. Luckily, it was in our favour, but it was a prime time to get a few of the youngsters on. They've seen the bench half a dozen times this season, and it would have been nice for them to get some minutes, and they did. And I thought both of them were very astute. I thought both of them showed their place, and I thought both of them looked like they were ready for the challenge and ready for the opportunity to step up and play at this level. So Carney was magical, absolutely magical. Like I said to you before, Drew, there were moments when I turned my head back to the screen and forgot he was on the field, because he was twice the size of most of the adult players on there, and he was absolutely bossing it. Looked like he was full of confidence and no fear whatsoever. It was absolutely brilliant. Chuffed to bits for him.
Yeah. T, you're just saying there, you're feeling a bit emotional. I know where you're coming. It almost feels like the first day of his first day at school, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? He's going to have an unbelievable time now. Like you say, I think anyone that's played football, that, listen, we know that I think 11th now is like, we can't go any higher or can't go any lower. So there's not a lot riding onto it, but it felt like it meant something tonight to try and get that result over the line. And anyone that knows coming onto that sort of a game when it's 100 mile an hour, everyone's frantic, you're trying to, stay in the game. I thought the two lads coming on, I thought they were absolutely so professional for such young kids. What's your thoughts, T?
Well, I want to say Wonderland, but wearing his wig on, I don't really want to say Wonderland, really. No, but listen, lads, listen. I didn't particularly see that performance coming, obviously, and I didn't particularly see him bringing the kids on against Spurs. But you can't take me serious.
I'm struggling.
Let's take it serious, right? I was all ready for an Arsenal TV special tonight because of after Palace, but you know what? The man management he got banged on, with the two kids coming on, generally felt a bit emotional.
Yeah.
Because we've all been barking on about this on this podcast. Let's get chucking. And when he come on, he was just
brilliant.
His first pass was a bit wayward, but from there on, like as I said, he looked like he'd been around for years, mate.
Yeah, again, there's a difference, isn't there? If he comes on and we're 3-0 down, there's not a lot riding on it, and he's put that sort of performance in. And I know it's 5, 6, 7 minutes he's played, but there's still a lot to kind of come on. You're seeing your sort of debut, first time for Tottenham having their fans back as well. For both the lads, let's not forget Jayden as well. I thought the pair of them handled it. At times I thought Jayden looked so tricky. Do
you know what I love, Drew? Is when they went over to the corner and interchanged with each other.
Yeah.
And I thought that was brilliant, mate. I thought it was absolute. And you know what? I think you'll probably remember Chuck's debut. Or in 10 minutes when you did Jack Grealish's. Yeah. Because he made that much of an impression.
Absolutely. And again, I think that is because of the impression he's been making in the academy. I think we knew about Jack for a long time. We knew that he had that real good season out at Notts County, and we were all kind of, what, this wonder kid that's about to come into our club. But with Chooks, he could be someone like Foden that just doesn't need a loan, because he's like as I said, he's ready for the Prem. Technically, he's probably better than some of the players that we've got now. It's just now about sort of keeping his feet on the ground. And same with Jayden. I thought, you look at the kid, he looks like a baby, doesn't he? Bless him. But
yeah. Thing is with Chooks, mate, how old is Chooks now? 16, 17?
17, yeah.
He's 17 years old and he's just made his first team debut. 17 years old. He's the youngest player, one of the youngest players playing in the under 18s team.
And
he's just made his first team debut.
And you know what, Joe? We've been going on about on this podcast again about luck, man. That Bidance, mate, he's low on gravity. I can see him, you know. Apparently, Azul, correct me on this. I think he's a bit wasteful, isn't he? He doesn't score many.
No, he doesn't. But
he don't score many.
What I like about Jayden is he always wants the ball. He's got that Jack about him. I mean, you know, probably for the last couple of years, the argument with Jack is he hasn't scored enough goals. And that's something that needs to come out. You know, you can't always hit the ground running, but sometimes, and again, this is some people that have played football, if your ability is better than what you're playing with, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to any of the lads at the academy level, but if your brain's working quicker than some of the lads and you're passing the ball and going and they're not seeing that pass, you might not look as good as you can be. There's a reason why he's in the first team and not scored many at 23s, isn't there? Let's face it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't know about you two. I feel high on life with the result, but I also feel a bit frustrated. What could have been, lads? What could have been?
Yeah. I think there could have been, you know, there could have been 2 or 3 more goals tonight for us.
No, not just that. As a season, mate. I'm on about as a season. Yeah. What could have been as a season, lads?
I mean, just to put that into perspective, you imagine if we'd have had this podcast after Palace, it would have just been blunt. It wouldn't have been worth doing. I mean, so I think let's move on to that. Really, let's start with Palace. We haven't touched on Palace at all. I mean, I'll kick us off on it, and honestly, I've never known a team that can be so good in one half and so poor in a second. And my frustration with it is that we're saying they're going to score again in a minute. But then it's the management of waiting for those goals to go in to then change it, to then go and try and win the game again. Why not? We win in the game. Why not go and stop that threat? Do you know what I mean?
It was just so frustrating. And watching tonight's game and the Palace game, like lumping 2 blooming 6-footers up front for the last 5 minutes, for me, is 90s tactics.
Yeah.
You know, the game management was wrong. Everything was so wrong about the game. And again, tonight, we're all waiting for the second half not to turn up, but we turned up. Yeah. And again, I think it's a story of our season is 2 words: consistency and wasteful.
Yeah, I agree. I think tonight, what's important to remember about tonight, and I'm not trying to be negative because I'm a positive man and we're a positive podcast, and you know we're all about the positivity. But I think tonight the result shouldn't crack over that there were still things that were meant fundamentally wrong with the way we performed at times.
Bang on,
and there were still 10, 15-minute moments, phases in the game where we could have quite easily conceded 2 or 3. You know, and I think we have to remember that there's still a lot of work to do. At times, midfield went missing, and then it just appeared again and was world class for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
you know, we still have those issues here, so we have to sort them out to make sure that results like tonight are maintainable.
Do you know why we won tonight? The players changed, I thought, after the penalty decision.
Mm-hmm.
Not them scoring.
Yeah.
I thought the penalty decision changed the game, and it was somehow they were lifted. I mean, I'm gonna have to make a special mention to Marvellous. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but I thought he was absolutely phenomenal tonight.
You know, with Marvellous, what I like about him is that player that he doesn't moan, gets on with his job. He comes in when he has to come in, and you know, granted, the first goal you're probably he'd hold his own hands up, but he don't let us down, does he? He comes in and he puts in a solid 8 out of 10 every time he plays. You know, he's not technical. You know, he's not going to pick out a worldy pass, or he's not going to probably score many goals, but what he does off the ball is phenomenal. And you know, I think there's no hiding that the fact that our performances have picked up when McGinn has played well. You know,
do you think Palace was our worst performance of the season?
No, I don't. I think our worst performance or worst half of football was Southampton. No, Southampton, when we went 3-0 down in first half. It was like the 4th game. And that one actually annoyed me more than any other game because we were really, really threatening to put on not just a great start to the season, an exceptional start, a record for Villa of how many games we could go winning. And it was almost as if, we've landed for the first half. And I think you've seen throughout the season, if you go and put it on people like that, like Tottenham, when we put it on at Man U at their place, at Chelsea at their place, Liverpool at ours, Liverpool at theirs until they got back into the game, we're a match for most. You know, and I think that for me is fundamentally what is so frustrating, because the amount of games that we have been dominant for 60-70% of the game and we haven't scored enough goals and let teams back in.
I thought the only disappointment tonight, I don't know about you, Azza, is I thought the clean sheet record could have been done tonight, because I thought Spurs looked lacklustre.
Yeah, they did, yeah. And you know, I think we should focus on we still put in enough, I think, to win the game tonight. And Spurs didn't turn up really, but let's not take away that we actually won the game tonight, and we did perform where we needed to. But I think the cracks are there still, and work needs to be done. You know, and we've got a big summer, a lot of things to have to work on this summer, and a lot of things to have to implement to make next season better than what it has been this year. And just back to the game, Drew, you know, I think for me, Palace was probably my most difficult defeat to deal with this year. And I say that because I felt like it was I've never felt like something was taken away from me so much in football before. You know what I mean? It was a complete contrast. We could have been Premier League champions, and then North League conference side turn up for the second half. Yeah. That's how bad it was.
You got to remember, it wasn't like a Burnley where Burnley are strong at home. Palace's record that they hadn't won in 5. They'd not won a game being down at half time since 2008. Yeah. It was just a shocking performance. And I'm exactly with Azza. Let's try and be positive, but even so, it's been an absolute poor second half of the season. And tonight's result has helped a little bit, but things have got to improve, and Smith's got to improve, because we can't be having bad man management against Palace and wicked man management tonight. We've got to be consistency throughout. And because if not, Smith, you're out.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with how I look at the season is that we've been a very, very nearly team this year. So every time that we've kind of had that chance to go and jump into Europa, or even jump into the top 4 to kind of put a bit of a gap, we kind of bottle it a little bit. And I don't know if that is a mindset thing, but I'm thinking if the season finished right now, we're 8 points off Europe. Now, I mean, between us now, we could probably pick 6 games that we should have won, like, Burnley, Palace, Brighton at home, West Ham away. There you go. That's Europa done. And they're not just pie in the sky games. They're games that we had 70% possession, 15 odd shots on goal. Our expected goal, whatever that is, was over 2 point whatever. And you think, we've been such a close, nearly team this season, and that's what's frustrating, because we, I think you said in the week, T, how easy we could have got Europa as well.
And all you got to remember as well, Smith is learning, but every season we've Smith's been in charge so far, he's had a poor spell. Yeah, and it's got to stop. Mm-hmm. It's got to stop. He spent a lot of money. We've got to have a nice consistency season, because I remember the game against Stoke away was a turning point for Smith. Do you remember when he nearly lost his job? And what was the other one? Last season was obviously COVID. Mm-hmm. So he's got to start looking in the mirror at himself and thinking, right, well, I can't just have a good spell of 10 games and then a crap spell of 10 games. He's got to sort it out.
Yeah.
If he will, is a massive question mark for me still.
I mean, I've actually put this down as and I think, you being someone that coach a lot of people, what do you think it is? Do you think it is management? Do you think it's mindset on both parts? What's your thoughts?
I think for me, there is, let's put it this in a way that everyone would understand it. There is a psychology that I think is fed by expectation, and it's fed by tradition. It's fed by media fueling, and it's fed by the players that know the club better than everybody else. Yeah. And when you arrive at the club, there is this sense that you have to be the very best. And I think, and as professional football, that's important. Everybody needs to try and feel like they are the very best. But as a learning youngster, or someone that's new to the game in regards to a long-term career, having those expectations and that championship mindset, but not quite being able to meet those requirements day in, day out, game in, game out, you know, there's going to be holes that open up. And I think what we see throughout the season is that these holes do open up. And for me, it isn't so much about the team performance all the time. Sometimes it's individual. You know, some players can go on a 5, 6, 7 game run, like Al Ghazi, for example, a 5, 6, 7 game run where he's quality. He's proven that the last few weeks. You know, he's got a lot of quality in him, and he can be a value to the team. Yeah. But then he goes missing for 10 or 11 or 12 games because he's had a dent to his confidence. His psyche has been hit by something, and I think mentality-wise, that's an issue for us at the minute. There is a confused mentality. They know where they want to be. They know which platform they want to all step on together, holding hands, but they just can't quite do it. Yeah. So and you can't take that same feedback and transition then into the next game, because the next game is a different team you're facing. It's different tactics, it's different players. You're being faced with different challenges. So there's no time to learn. What we need to do is play Crystal Palace 10 times in a row, weekend. And by the end of that 10 weeks we played Palace, you see the difference. Played the same team, same tactics, same outlook, but everything's changing all the time because these players are learning. And so Smith in that respect too. Yeah. And I guess that's what we're seeing. So, you know, another good pre-season of banging those kind of drills in, making sure that everybody's on the same post, singing off the same hymn sheet. And I hope we'll see a difference, mate. But for me, that's what it is. It's psychology. Yeah. I think.
T, I mean, from my point, I think in any aspect, life, football, whatever it might be, targets are, you know, are brilliant. You know, it's good to set targets or whatever. But I also think there can be a ceiling as well. So throughout the season, we keep on hearing Jack coming out, Smith coming out, McGinn coming out, Mings coming out. Oh, 12 was our target this year, or this was our, but now we want to go higher. What's your thoughts on that? If their expectations and targets were for 12th or 11th or even top 10, do you think it feels as though like, oh, okay, well, we've kind of got where we are now, and we've kind of got there? It's a little bit like, you know, if I want to set a weight loss goal, okay, I want to get down by a stone, I get to my stone, and then I just start maintaining. Why not improve on that? Do you know what I'm trying to say, T?
Yeah. And do you know what I think it is? And I've changed my mindset a little bit on our transfer policy a little bit. I think it comes down to experience, lads. We have got a young squad.
Yeah.
I do think we need a couple of proven, experienced guys in there now, because it's obviously some of the mindsets aren't right.
I've got to say,
we got a young midfield as well. Yeah, remember,
I've got to say, I think we were the most naive team in the Premier League last season.
100%, mate.
This year we're getting a little bit cuter. I think Konsa, for his age, is, you know, all he gets is a little push in the back, and he's out, and he wins fouls, gets us out of pressured situations. I think that's unbelievable. Last season, he would have stayed on his feet, tried to keep it in and get it out, and lost the ball and end up losing the goal. But I get where you're coming from. But again, I think another year in the Premier League, so that'll be the third year for some of these lads in the Premier League, another year with them all being together. Like you say, maybe a couple of old heads, let's say someone, I don't know, Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's been there, done that, you know, I don't know, someone like that sort of ilk that, again, is exciting. But I think from our point of view, I know exactly where you're coming from, and it's been something that's kind of been grinding at me. So again, is that a mindset? Is that something that we need to be working on, or is that something that you just learn as you go on?
Well, I'll tell you now, I definitely think we need a set-piece coach. Yeah. I think that's going to help the lads totally on confidence and everything. We just look nervous at taking set pieces. And we look nervous attacking set pieces, so that's got to change. Yeah. Well, I definitely do think now, and I didn't before, that we do need a couple of experienced heads. We can't just go all left fields and raw like we are looking at. Yeah. And then we just need to, like you say, the set of players we've got at the moment will then get experience, but we can't keep going like this. It's got to change, and this ownership will not stand for it, because they'll want Europe next season. I know Az is quite vocal about it, mate, aren't you? But you seem to think that maybe 8th would be all right next season. No. We're going to spend a lot of money pre-season. This ownership wants Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, and I do. And you know, I don't think there'd be a Villa fan in the land that next year wouldn't want Europe. But, you know, you've seen West Ham try it. You know, you've seen Tottenham try it this year. Arsenal try it. Chelsea for a long time. You know, it's tough to break that top 6, and you know, I think inevitably there'll be some teams next year that won't be as good. There'll be some teams next season that will be better.
I disagree, mate. I never disagree with you. We were nearly there.
I know
you've just mentioned eight to 9 games where we should have won.
Yeah.
It's just I think the word is frustration this season.
Definitely.
It is progress, but it's more frustration for me.
Yeah. I think it's because we were so close, wasn't it? And
that's it.
And I think the thing with what it is, right? And if we'd been maintaining the performance levels that we had, and we just weren't getting the rub of the green, we weren't getting the decisions from VAR, losing 1-0 here and there, you can take it. But I think it's because the performance levels dropped off as well. And I think that's what's hard to take, because that for me is a mindset. That's not management. If you're a player and you can see Europa League, you've got to want that. And I don't think our lads wanted it enough this year.
Yeah, but it's still man management, isn't it?
To a degree, but I think you've got to take accountability of what you're stepping over that line. Once you've stepped over that line, if you don't run as hard as you did against so and so last week,
but it's still a set of players. Look at the management team to tweak things, like tweak formations or make sensible subs and all that. I don't think it's all on the players, mate. To be fair,
no, I'm not saying it is, but I think that what I'm saying is I think there's a mix, and I think that there is a discussion to be had that I personally think that Dean Smith gets too engrossed in the game, and he forgets that he needs to make subs to impact a game. I mean, a perfect example is Sheffield United. They got a man sent off at 60-odd minute or whatever it was. It took him till the 80th minute to make a sub.
But he also has backroom staff to tell him what to do as well.
I think he scrolls through Twitter to see what Azza's tweeting, to be honest.
He doesn't want to listen to me, mate.
But I think we're all on the same hymn sheet, but we've got to improve.
Oh, massively.
We've got to find consistency. So,
yeah. I mean, the argument is, and everyone's saying it on Twitter, the season that Smith doesn't progress us positional wise in the league, I get it. But I think, I just, like you say, I'm happy tonight, but equally I was as frustrated in the week, and on the weekend. And, you can't be that sort of up and down as a team, and ultimately you are going to get results like that. You can't go and lose away to Crystal Palace, but then go and beat Tottenham away.
Maybe we see a different attitude in Smith next season, because he knows he's got to go for it. He knows that people are saying, is he the man to go to move us forward? At the end of the day, he's like us. He's got Villa in his blood. He's going to want to improve as well. I just think it's a learning season, but a frustrating season.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think is acceptable, and where do you think we'll finish
next year?
Yeah. It don't matter this year. It's 11th, mate.
Yeah. I think acceptable would be top half.
What's your top half? That's sitting on the fence. That is
top eight for me is top half. I call 8 to 12 is middle table. I don't want middle table. I want top eight. And I want to be challenging for Europe, in and around that 5th, 6th, 7th. That's where we need to be next year. And as we've all seen, one or two players in a club recruitment strategy can change the season for you in those crucial games to make those points count. I think we'll bring in the players who can do that, albeit maybe left field, a little bit outside the box, maybe to the normal kind of looking at players stuff. Yeah. But I think we'll do that. So for me, anywhere from 5th to 8th, I think will be a decent season. I think the owners will be pleased with that. And but it's not just about the position we finish. I would happily finish 10th, but look back at the season and not one game do I think we performed badly in this game. To lose but play well, for me, it's progress. Mm-hmm. A part of me feels that way strongly. I really feel that way. I want to see the boys perform. Like I said in the other podcast we did before, I was getting a bit excited. I just want to see the boys playing well, and if they can play well, if they can play well and perform well, game in, game out, and lose a few, win a lot, but lose a few and draw a few, then I'm going to come away from that feeling much more enthusiastic about where we're going. Yeah. So for me, that's important as well. But yeah, 5th to 6th to 7th to 8th, somewhere like that would be good, I think.
Tay?
I think 7th to 6th. It's going to be a different ball game next year, next season. Yeah. So we're going to have stadiums full. There's going to be a lot more pressure. The the home supporters can get on their back a little bit. So we've got to start off straight away, and we're going to get buzzing. And I'd like to a good run in the cup again.
Yeah.
I think I'd like a cup.
I think the FA Cup got took away from us cruelly this season. I'd like to have a good run in that. And basically no lower than 7th. For how much we're gonna spend, no lower than 7th.
Okay. Yeah, I got to say, I think, you know, from the talk and the money and the investment that I think that we're going to be putting in, or sounds like we're putting in, like you said, I genuinely think the owners want Europe next year, and I think that might be Smith's downfall. I think he might just fall short, and I don't think he'll get the sack, but I think it puts him under so much pressure the year after.
Because the three of us, before people start blooming tweeting, want Smith to succeed.
Yeah,
100%.
I want Smith to start the season, but we cannot have a second half of season like this again.
Listen, I absolutely, I think there's a bit of a romantic thing about Villa at the minute. You know, it's flooded with Villa fans, from the coaching staff to some of the players. You can just see, I think there's just a good atmosphere. I mean, any team that's got John McGinn in their dressing room is going to have a good atmosphere about their team. You know, you got Smith, who talks about, you know, his fond memories about going down the Villa. You got pictures flooded all over Twitter of Jack watching the Villa. And, you know, I want that. I want Smith to be the person that sort of takes us right to the top. And I hope he is that guy. And, you know, fingers crossed he can be. But if he's not, you know, ultimately our owners aren't, you know, they're successful businessmen at the end of the day. And if they want their company or their business to go in that direction and it's not quite, they'll make the tweak, I think.
We're going to have to as well. And I keep barking on about it. He's going to have to start tweaking formations next season.
Yeah.
His plan A can't be Jack Grealish, because he's proven now he's not finished 2 seasons. Or, you know, he's been injured in 2 seasons. He's got to go with the times, as he's got to change, you know, sometimes 5 at the back, sometimes go 4-4-2. You know, every other team in the Premiership does that. Even Burnley does that. He's got to get the players in now to adapt that. There's no more excuses. There's no more excuses.
No coincidence that we won tonight. And at not one time did I ever really truly recognise what the hell formation we were playing. No. It was really difficult at times to know how we were playing.
Yeah.
You know, Traore stepped in as like a number 10, like up top with Watkins sometimes. McGinn was playing behind Watkins at some point. Grealish was DM at some point. Like I couldn't tell you what formation we were playing.
Luis come on as number 10, didn't he?
Yeah. He did, yeah. I'll tell you as well. I think, you know, I remember Smith when we came up and he sort of said, first year is all about staying up. Second year is about building a Premier League squad, team, 11. And then the third year, which is what we're going into, is about pushing on. So again, you know, I'm excited. I really am. And I think as long as we perform the way we did tonight, don't get me wrong, I don't want to become the next Brighton where performance is over results. But as long as we perform the way we did, bear in mind Chelsea need to win to get 4th and be in Champions League. So it's going to be, you know, a strong Chelsea team. I'm happy to finish the season on that note of kind of performing well, fans back in, little taster of what's to come next year. And yeah, I'm just ready to get some new faces in and really kick on next year. I am.
We don't mind. You don't mind mistakes being happening in the game, but when you show no desire and your management don't show any man management skills, then I'll get frustrated. Then I'll start getting Arsenal TV like, because it's got to change.
Let me put it into perspective for you just quickly. So as someone that coaches a lot of people, you know, over the grand scheme of things, if a client has been on a 12-week program with me and they've only lost half as much as everybody else, but they've showed twice as much determination and desire to try and lose that weight or to try and get into that shape, they're my favorite client. Yeah. You know, it's great that people have lost the weight and they're smashing it and they've not really had to try hard. They've not given me everything, but I've got one who really has given me their life, soul and blood every week, every day. And they haven't lost as much weight, but I've seen the desire and determination that's gone into trying to lose it. They're the ones I'm giving the money to. They're the ones I'm giving that transformation to. And that's the same with Villa for me at the minute.
Okay, lads, I've got a question for you. Do you think that there's a little bit of complacency slipped in at the fact that some of the lads know that there's no one good enough to kind of come in and take their place, even if they're underperforming? Or do you just think that the performance has just dropped? I just can't understand how you can be. I mean, literally, our season has been like one of our games of late, where we've been unbelievable in the first half of the season. Like, you got Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, Roy Keane, even waxing lyrical about Villa, saying that love watching us, they love watching how they're playing, blah blah blah. And then to the second half where it's been dull.
No, I see. Sanson came in, didn't he? Sanson came in, and you'd think it pushed Louise and McGinn, but never did really, did it?
No, I think he's going to be a big player next season. I'm excited to see him getting properly fit, because you see all the people that talk about him and they say he's got 3 lungs, he's always running around. And I don't think you really saw that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
No,
I don't really think he made the impact he wanted to make. And it is difficult. It is difficult.
Do you know what I noticed tonight as well? Right, Marvellous was everywhere, wasn't he? He was putting clinical tackles in. He wasn't giving free kicks away, or he was just giving clinical. It was just brilliant, wasn't he? Louise comes on, and his first 2 bloody tackles, he's fouling. I just don't think Louise is a defensive midfielder.
Oh, I don't,
because he gives fouls away left, right, and centre. Yeah. I love Louise. I don't really know what he is. No, I don't really know if he's a 6, he 8, is he a number 6, is he number 8, or is he number 10? I'm not knocking Louise. I think Louise kept us up last season.
Yeah,
I just don't.
100%.
I don't know how he fits in Adino's team at the moment.
See, I was talking to my brother whilst we were playing, and I said it's probably the most balanced I've seen us in this year, if you like, because I thought having Jack in the middle where he can float around, get involved in right, left, up front, back, whatever he wants to do, just love that. I love Jack being involved in everything without losing him from the left side, and then there's no one there. I thought El Ghazi actually sort of looked a little bit like he was up for it, which was good to see.
Constant gave us balance coming inside.
And I know that, like you say, because you've got 2 lads in the middle of the park that are out and out runners in Marvellous and Guinea. And I think, Guinea's performances over the last couple of weeks have just gone through the roof again. I don't know if he's just making sure he got into the Euro squad or not, but I think there's no, there's him running more, keeping the ball more. Even you seeing that little trick he's got in the middle of the park again. He looks like he's full of confidence again.
No coincidence, mate. So the games that Guinea looks like he's improved himself in is the games that either Barkley or Louise haven't started up against him.
I mean, Barkley's fizzled out, isn't he?
I mean,
it's like a can of lager. You start enjoying a can of lager, and then you look at the date and you think, it's out of date. You can have that as a YouTube as well if you want.
And then you continue to drink it, so.
And then you continue to drink it, and then you're sick the next day, ain't you?
Yeah.
What a waste of a talent. He's going to look back at his time at the Villa and think, fuck you now.
See, again, and that's my issue with Dougie. I think it's undoubtedly he's a superstar. He's so talented, but does he want it enough? And it's a case of, I'll tell you where I want to play, not a case of I'll fit you into Dean Smith's system. And I don't think he's doing enough of that. With Marvellous coming on and playing the way he did tonight, he could lose his. I'll
tell you something, Drew. Dougie is a very emotional man.
Yeah.
Dougie holds his emotions very close to his heart.
Yeah.
And he wears them on his sleeve. And I think at times, particularly like tonight at the end there, I think the what appears to be a lack of trying and a lack of energy is just him being very emotional about stuff.
Yeah. I've decided though he's not a defensive midfielder.
No, he's not.
You want someone like Marvellous who wins the ball, give it to Louise, and let him do his passing 20 yarders. He's not. He's been hung out a little bit. He's not a defensive midfielder.
I don't think you can say that, T, because he played defensive mid last season and he kept us up. He was unbelievable in that position. And the start of the season, he played in that position, and he was, because what he lacks in sort of mobility of getting around the pitch like Marvellous does, he gains in the way he reads the game. There's no one.
Why is he giving fouls away all of us? He gives fouls away every single game.
I've said this before on countless podcasts, mate. The easiest bet that you'll ever have in football is Douglas Luiz to get booked, because he will every game.
But you know yourself, mate, as a midfielder, if you're going to foul in the midfield, foul in a clever place. Don't foul in the stupid places. You
saw Guinea do it in the 91st minute. He gave the ball away in their box before it even had chance to go. He just nicked someone. That's where you do it. Not Dougie. He waits until Pogba's back on his feet in the box.
And he just puts pressure onto us, isn't it? It's a good job. They were lackluster tonight, Spurs.
Yeah, really. I agree. I mean, listen.
It's time that I went for my trial in it, boys, isn't it, really?
What's that then? Your hold on trial?
It's time that I went for my trial at the Villa.
Oh, yeah. Next question.
Yeah.
Well, some quick fires, let's go.
Okay, no, I think what it wouldn't be fair to sort of talk about the season without sort of talking about the ladies' team. Actually, I think I think it's quite clear that we're trying to really invest in that side of the club as well, and I think it's unbelievable. I think we've kind of first year in the Premier League, similar to what the first team did last year, got promoted. It was tough. It was always going to be tough, but the fact that they've dug in and survived on the last day, fair play to the girls. I know as you follow it probably a little bit more than me, but I didn't think I want to sort of move on without giving the girls a shout out and big, massive congratulations to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great to see him staying in it. That hasn't come without its challenges, hasn't come without its battles this year. There was a big overhaul last summer, wasn't there, when the ladies department really kind of kicked off. Aluko coming in to direct it all, some big players signing from abroad. And trying to kind of inflict that little bit of class whilst keeping the Birmingham-born girls involved, which has been lovely to see. And it's a shame that a few of them have been, given their marching orders this last few weeks. There's clearly some big changes going on there. I'd love to know a little bit more from the inside about what they're thinking and who they're going to be bringing in to kind of lead that feat. But it's great to see them staying in it, and it is weird, isn't it? They've kind of survived and stayed up on the same storyline as what Villa did first season. Literally end of the road survival, that last game that kept them up. Shame to see Bristol City go as well, to be fair. Good friend of mine plays for Bristol ladies, and she's gutted and will be moving on and hopefully back into the Premier League. And I think that just goes to show that women's football is progressing, mate, and Villa want to be a part of that. It's good to see the funds and the time and the effort given to that. But we've got to get in the right people, and it's like with men's football, simple as that. Really, you got to get the right people in. I think a few of the right people have left, which is a damn shame, and could have been involved. And I'll make a big shout out of that, because I think a lot of Twitterians will agree who follow the ladies for sure. Gemma Davis, for example, she's a big loss. She's a real people's person, and she's been a massive part of where Villa are today. Yeah. So she needs a big round of applause for that. But yeah, let's see where we go. But I'm excited for the ladies. More quality, more vision, and let's do what we need to do.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to some quick fires then. I think you might have discussed this on the last podcast. Actually, I think it was the favourite home shirt. So I'm going to change it to what's been your favourite away shirt of recent times.
Oh, I like the Melberg one. Do you know what I mean by that Melberg one? The pinstripe one.
Yeah.
The white shirt with the pinstripe, and we got the shirts given away at West Ham away. Yeah, that's my favourite. I'm trying to think who was the kit maker.
Hummel.
No, it wasn't Hummel, was it?
Reebok, Hummel,
was it? That's going to bug me. Anyway, yeah.
Was it not Nike?
Nike, it was Nike.
No, it was.
Yeah, Nike. It was Nike. Yeah, that's my favourite. That was my favourite away kit.
I like the one, and I've spelt his name wrong in the week, but the one that Martin Lawson, like the tealy blue one, the teal blue Nike one.
With the black collar.
Yeah, love that one.
Nice.
Like you, Az?
I owned it as my first away shirts as a kid. So the silver with the lime green on it that Dion Dublin wore when he belted that a head in against Birmingham. Was it Birmingham? I think it was Birmingham. Savage was playing. Yeah, when he headbutted Savage. So yeah, that one, the grey one with the lime on. I think that was Reebok and LDV Vans. I think it was.
Yeah. I like the old Muller one as well, the green and black stripe one.
Yeah.
The old Muller kid. That was a nice one.
Okay. A bit of a choose between. So who would you have, Carew or Benteke?
Carew. John Carew.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question.
That's like choosing which bloke's going to cheat on your missus, isn't it? That.
Oh yeah. Liz.
Mate, she better not come in. She'll think you are.
She will, yeah. She comes in, start naked.
With that wig on, she'll think he's filming for some porno.
She comes in with a little bell now, I'll tell you.
Mate, if I hear elevator music, I'm turning off.
Yeah, John Carew for me, mate. A player that I don't think many people expected to arrive. To say that he was a swap for Milan Baros is unbelievable. I can't even imagine who was dealing with their finances on that deal. He came in and he set Villa Park alight. He was an absolute warrior for us, absolute warrior. You know, to get into towards the end of his career, came to Villa Park, played like he was born in Birmingham, and you know, and he's still. I think he has a box at Villa Park now with Prince William. Do you know what I mean? What a legend he was. Plenty of good goals, plenty of quality goals he scored for us. And I love him. Love John Carew. I love Benteke. Don't get me wrong, but he was only at the club 3 years. You know, he fucked us off for bigger things, and it hasn't worked out.
And he handed a transfer request in as well. To be fair, didn't he?
That. So for me, John Carew every day.
Tell you what you got.
I think Benteke.
Take that wig off, Freddie Flintstone.
I do. I think Benteke, mate. He kept us up. I mean, you say he was 3 years. He kept us up. He kept us up. He destroyed Liverpool in that semi-final.
Yeah.
So, come on,
That was all about Andy Diamond, that was.
Carew was a legend. He was a legend, but I just think pound for pound, he was a better player.
I think,
and he kept us up.
I think technically, as a footballer, Benteke was a better footballer. I think that the reason why I would go Carew is I just associate Carew with better times at Villa. We were surging towards Europe, and you had the Gareth Barrys, Milners, and it was an exciting time at Villa. And you know, undoubtedly, I think Benteke was a better player. I just think he was surrounded by less quality. So,
well, I'm gonna have a look here now. So Carew scored 37 goals
in how many games?
113 games.
Okay.
So Benteke.
There was a striker.
Great song. 89. Right, let's have a guess here. In 89 appearances, guess how many goals?
47.
Oh, close.
I'll go 42.
42, because you just looked at you. Yes, 42. So there we are. Backs up my argument. Benteke all day long.
And he had a better song.
Yeah, a brilliant song. Phenomenal. Right. That's phenomenal. That's an absolute outstanding.
Yeah. Okay. Best performance of the season.
You first, Azza. So I can think.
And I'll take a performance from a player or the team. If you can think of a game that you think that someone's just took it by the scruff of the neck.
I'm going to go player.
Go on.
Jack Grealish, Arsenal away.
Okay, yeah, that was unbelievable to be. I like that shot.
I'm not going to go Pacific game. I'm going to go to player. Over to you, Azza.
Yeah, I mean the obvious standout is the Liverpool game, isn't it? But we really turned up that night, but I also feel that Liverpool didn't really turn up that night, and so we should have won that game. And looking back on it now, there was absolutely no reason why we shouldn't have won that game. We did, and we absolutely smashed them, which was great. But for me, I think the non-obvious choice would be, what one would it be? I mean, the Arsenal game was pretty sick, wasn't it? The Arsenal game was pretty good. We turned up that night, and
massively.
Some
of the best football we've played. I think.
I agree. Yeah, and I think every player that turned up for us that night gave one of their best performances of the season.
Can I just give you two other questions?
Go on.
Am I allowed to?
Can I give my answer before? Can I give my answer?
Oh, yeah, give your answer first, mate. Yeah, go on.
I'm going to go a bit left field. I'm going to go John McGinn against Chelsea away. Remember when he nearly broke the crossbar?
Yeah.
He covered every blade of grass that night. And I think he's the reason why we got a result that night. But yeah, go on. Your question, Freddie.
So which game do you think we shouldn't have won, but we did win?
Mm-hmm.
Leeds.
Yeah, Leeds. Definitely Leeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were shit that night, and that was just a lucky night for us.
Definitely Leeds. That night.
Or Leicester away. I think it stunk a 0-0, and that we got a decent goal at the end, but I don't think there wasn't a winner in that game for me, and we were the better. We got the better of them at the end. So.
And Southampton away.
Southampton, yeah.
And which goal did you celebrate the most? Mine's a controversial one as well. Oh, yeah. So this has not been rehearsed, guys. So I've got those two. Do you want to give you mine?
Go on.
Ross Barkley, Leicester away. That's controversial. I've celebrated 83rd,
84th minute, that wasn't it?
That was
I think it was later than that.
Later than that.
One of the last kicks of the game.
Last kicks of the games. I've never celebrated so much for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And it was Ross Barkley.
I've got to say, it could have been top tonight, because if Chooks' little worm burner would have gone in rather than it in the.
He loves that
post.
shot, though, doesn't he? He loves that shot.
He does. To be honest with you, though, for a kid that age to be giving, let's have it right, a World Cup winner, the eyes from 25 yards out. Fair play to him. He's got some balls on him.
He just makes me.
Don't say
love football.
I just can't believe.
He's only 17 now. He can't get you hard.
I can't believe he signed a pre-contract with Bayern Munich. That's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Mate, he's going to be prolific, isn't he? He's going to be prolific.
I reckon his wig's making him a bit naughty.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
You do look naughty. You look a bit like Noel Gallagher, actually.
I know.
Okay.
A bit with a big nose.
What's been your... I've got the biggest nose on here, mate. Don't you worry. It's a good job Air's free. What's been your biggest disappointment? Not necessarily a game, but just what's been your biggest disappointment this year?
My wig.
I'll go first because I know the answer to it, and I think you'll all agree. I think for me, Ross Barkley, when he signed, was like, shit, we are here. We are turning up. We've had a good summer recruitment, but Ross Barkley really puts that icing on the cake for us. Holy shit, here we go. First 3-4 games, he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then he disappeared.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen the true Ross Barkley at all since then. And I'm gutted about that because at the beginning of the season, I was convinced he'd already signed a permanent deal. I was convinced he was here to stay, and I was convinced he was the best signing we'd make in this decade. And it hasn't turned out like that, has it? And that for me is really, really disappointing.
Yeah. I think it's a story of our season. What could have been?
Yeah.
I think that is my biggest disappointment. I think it's a chance missed, and I know that's ambitious, and I know it's a bit overshooting because we stayed up by a point or whatever. Mate, I think we have missed a big chance this year. Having no crowds in, the performance levels of some of the traditional top six.
The players we could have attracted, mate.
Yeah. And I'm glad that we finished the season. Take Crystal Palace out of it, but the performance levels have gone up slightly. But like you say, if you're trying to sign players and you finish in the top 10, you might get a different conversation. Do you know what I mean?
I also think the whole Jack Grealish saga is just been ridiculous. Absolutely. It's been ridiculous. From the first day he got injured, the whole thing's just been absolute saga for me. And I hope Dean Smith learns from it.
Yeah.
You best not say anything than just keep saying, well, he'll be on the grass soon. I mean, do you remember Sanson? Sanson was supposed to be on the grass again, it wasn't he? Now all of a sudden he's out for the season, isn't he?
I just don't get this smoke and mirror. I mean, it actually took a reporter 2 weeks after Trez getting injured to say, is it actually his ACL? Yeah, we think so. And it's like, well, just tell us. Like, we're big enough and ugly enough now to understand that players get injured. Do you know what I mean? So I don't.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, Trezeguet as well. Trezeguet's injury is disappointment as well for me. Yeah, felt sorry for the lad.
And me, I think, you saw him coming off the pitch and he was in tears. I think when you see a player like that, they know what they're about to go through. And I think, it's for someone that works as hard as he does, and he leaves every ounce of himself on the pitch, whether he's had a good game or not. And you just hate to see stuff like that, regardless, whether you like the player or you don't like the player, stuff like that. It's crap.
I think another disappointment for me, it's not as big as Barkley, and it's not really bothering me too much, but I feel like we could have utilised January for one more player. I feel like we could have utilised January for a real cutthroat winger, a real cutthroat player to really rip it up in the final third and just give us that little bit more. And with that, maybe a few of the games that we've seen us dwell off on, we might have just pulled some results out of, and therefore may have found ourselves in Europe. So for me, I think January was it was good to get Sanson in, but he was never targeted for January. He was meant to be a summer deal.
No.
He was a summer target, and we just didn't quite pull it out the bag in January, I felt,
I think it's hindsight, though, and it has, because you think probably the best football we played was in December.
Yeah.
So you look at it and you think, well, another midfielder was probably all we felt as a team we needed. Then all of a sudden Jack's injured, then Trez gets injured, and then before you know it, you've kind of got two wingers, and you're sort of looking a little bit lackluster in terms of creativity. But I mean, overall, lads, I think we can see that there's positivity again. Unbelievable result tonight and performance, and massive shout out to the two young lads, Chooks and Jaden, and also a big congratulations to the Villa women as well.
Definitely, mate. Definitely.
Thanks again for watching, guys. If you like, please like and subscribe. And yeah, keep an eye out for our next one. Cheers.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Up the